Welcome to CXO, a magical podcast to help you serve better and concoct experiences that are superlative in nature. I'm your host, Supriya Sharma, bringing to you in each episode didactic nuggets so you can get inspired to sprinkle stardust in your company, your home, and the community on the whole.
Let's roll out the red carpet for our guest today. It's Melissa Moore, who's a retail consultant, mentor, and trainer based in Ireland, built upon a strong foundation of working with well-known international names in retail, including high street brands, supermarket chains, and premium hospitality for over 20 years. Her business, The Retail Advisor, empowers retailers to reach their potential through sales growth and excellence in customer experience. And what she aims to deliver through her trainings and consulting is sensational customer service. That's what Melissa calls it. Welcome to our show, Melissa.
Thank you so much for having me. What a great introduction.
So how do you feel being here on a Saturday evening or afternoon, rather?
Do you know, it's a real change for me. So having worked in retail all my career, I'm used to working Saturdays, and then having started the business and the consultancy, people are really shocked that I still work kind of Saturdays, but it's in me. It's what I've always known. And even when I deliver training, I'll do that in the evening for retailers because that's what I know. I know late night Thursdays and late night Fridays and working weekends. So yes, I don't do it as often now, but I'm always happy to work with a client or do something like this on a Saturday because it's what I've always done. So no, it's great to be here.
That's brilliant. Then we are not taking up a lot of your time on Saturday, and we are so happy that you are used to working on Saturdays. So coming from the retail space these days, the hype is about reimagining the retail experience, scan and shop and no billing queues, things like that. And according to a white paper by Infosys, also the retailers are more than ever looking at cementing the customer loyalty through digitalization. So we are all into digitalization so much these days. But there's a problem. The organizations are not very sure of which technology to adopt because there are a variety of options that one can choose from. Neither are they very sure of how these things are actually going to deliver value. So how can organizations really pick what works for them? Which is the technology that they can adopt, what works for their customers, and how do they know whether it's going to deliver value or not?
For me, it comes down to something really, really basic. Who is your customer? What do they need from you? And then where does that data reach them? Because I've seen companies that have really heavily invested in tech, but that's not who their customer is. Like if you have an older customer with the best will in the world, having the fanciest tech embedded within your systems, either in store or online, it is never going to work from you. You are never going to get that great return on investment. So for me, like everything else with customer experience, it has to match who your customer is. So if you haven't done your homework on who your customer truly is, especially over the last 18 months with COVID, we know our customers have changed. We know their shopping habits have changed and how they shop has changed. But if you haven't done that basic work, the tech you bring into your organization is never going to work. It's never going to give you the results you want. It's never going to make your customers truly happy. So where I see it working is with those customers and those, retailers that have married the two together. You get that right. And then I think the tech just sits in really nicely because for me, and maybe I'm still a bit of a technophobe, the tech has to layer on top of the experience. It can't be everything first and foremost, because very few of our businesses, especially in retail, are built kind of tech first. And that might be something that might annoy a few people listening to this. But for me, retail comes down to that human interaction. It's that face-to-face interaction. It's the human connection. Even if you are shopping online, you want to draw the customer in through the personalization, through the human connection, maybe through your story as a retailer. The tech needs to sit on top of that.
So there are two things that I take away from what you just said. One is you cannot forget what you were taught in kindergarten, even if you graduate or you end up being a philosophical or a doctor or somebody like that. What I mean by that is know who your customer is. So that is the basic, like you just mentioned. And secondly, you said the technology needs to sit on top of the basic or the foundation. And this brings me to something really interesting. Last weekend I was ordering a pizza from Domino's, and that was through Facebook Messenger using the Dom, which is the Domino's pizza bot. And the experience wasn't so great, although they claim it to be really easy for customers. That's why they're doing it, they say. And not only Domino's, there are many other companies like that in various sectors. But these omnibots, do they really work, or is it just me who feels that there's something missing?
Again, I'm going to get myself into trouble here. No, I hate them. I'm going to come out there and probably annoy a lot of people in retail and say, I don't like them. I have yet to see or use or experience as a consumer a bot that really works, that actually answers my questions, answers my needs, gets me to where I want to be. If anything, using the bots frustrates me more. Now, why on earth are we putting tech into our businesses that's going to annoy our customers, that's going to make us walk away? I recently was looking to buy actually a new webcam, and it's not even on today because I'm having issues with it. I went on a website, so an Irish website. So I was buying from an Irish tech brand. Had a few questions because I thought the layout of the site was a bit confusing. And I'm not a techie person, wasn't really sure what I needed. The bot pops up, I ask it a question, and surprise, surprise, I start to go around in circles with the answer. What I needed was that human connection that I spoke about a minute ago. Even if that bot initially maybe asked the initial question, how can I help today? Or are you looking for opening hours? But if it could then feed me through to a real life person typing away, then my needs would have been met. Then I wouldn't have been frustrated. And actually, then I wouldn't have logged off that site, gone to a competitor and have bought from them. And I'd love to know how many people out there right now do exactly the same thing because they get frustrated.
Then how do we go about it? We are moving from the fourth revolution to the fifth industrial revolution, and we see more and more of technology coming in. And the idea is to support humans in the job that they're doing, whether in the workplace or at home, bringing technology and humans together in a peaceful, or rather a harmonious coexistence that is beneficial for all of us, and creating magical experiences. The underlying question here is, what is the holistic strategy that can be incorporated so we are using technology to the best possible manner, in a manner that it helps our customers instead of annoying them?
It? And this is the thing. Who's the technology helping? Is it the business, or is it genuinely helping the customer? Because 9 times out of 10, especially these bots that just pop up and they're automated, do they really help the customer? Because again, I'm yet to see many of them that truly answer the needs of the customer, that's asking the question. So for me, it's more about actually who's the technology helping when it comes to bots. If we're a company that can afford, the live person sitting in the background, typing the questions and answers, fantastic. But again, is that helping our customer? Does our customer mind sitting there typing? If it's the sort of customer and you're the sort of retailer that will sit there typing maybe during the day while you're doing other things and have the time to chat, or actually do you just want to ask a question to a real human being, either face to face or on the phone? And are you then going to log off the site? So again, for me, it's like, who's the tech helping? Is it the business, or is it genuinely helping the customer?
Now it makes me think twice before what I'm going to say now, because the question is, who is the tech helping, whether it is the customer or the business? So as customers, we are kind of on the same page that tech isn't helping much. I mean, so far it hasn't helped much, though we wanted to help. And on the other hand, as a trainer and consultant in this space, I have worked with many of the call centers where I have seen the employees also hating the technology. So in a way, from their point of view, I feel tech isn't even helping the business. Oh,
And I
uh,
find this quite scary at the moment as well. It's maybe the more you immerse yourself in CX, and if you do have to ring a call center, the more you actually hear the person on the other end of the phone getting frustrated. You're starting to understand maybe the tone of their voice, and then you feel bad, and you could genuinely be ringing maybe about your bill or a question.
mm,
And actually, they're really frustrated because they don't have the answers for you. So again, who's all this tech helping? I firmly believe there are very few businesses out there that are getting this right. And when I say getting it right, to a level of excellence that is superb across the board. And that really worries me because, as you say, look, we are in this tech age. It should be being brought in to sit on top of what we're already doing to help and support both the business and the customer. But neither of them are winning at this right now.
hmm. Okay.
I
And
know it's an interesting one, but yeah, I still think we have a journey to go on when it comes to retail and tech. I think we're very much in the middle of it. I think COVID has thrown up all sorts of new ideas and issues, but I think when it succeeds, which it will, I think that's going to be really exciting.
absolutely, and we look forward to it. But there's another thing that I picked up from what you just said. You talked about how we being in the CX space feel about the person on the other side of the phone when we are ringing up a call center or we are interacting with any customer care representative, even if it's face to face. And that's what makes me say ignorance is a bliss sometimes. Anyways, moving to incorporating more of technology, let's say, if we ever wanted to do it as we are moving from one industrial revolution to the next. And having a personalized CX, a personalized customer experience at every touch point that a customer has with us. Take, for instance, I want to buy a DSLR, okay? And I search for it online, and the moment I search for it online, the next day or immediately I start receiving some flurry advertisements, and then there are all sorts of campaigns which start bombarding me with a lot of information. I get
Now,
confused.
how does that make you feel right now? I can hear it and I can see it in your face and I can hear it in your voice. How does that make you feel when you're bombarded?
Terrible, I don't want to buy a DSLR anymore.
There you go. Why do we do this to our customers who, sitting in a C-suite somewhere in the world, in a boardroom, decided that this was a good idea? Why are we frustrating and annoying our customers?
And that's where I think personalized CX comes in, knowing exactly what your customer wants and serving them that particular way. So you are not annoying your customers and you're branding that brand loyalty for the rest of lifetime. So my question here is, how do we go about understanding the customer preferences, whether we are referring to the online stores or the traditional brick and mortar ones? Where is the starting point?
I think we have to differentiate the different customers because, of course, yes, we all have a customer base, but within that, there are so many different customers. So you buying the camera there, you could be a tech fanatic. Maybe using a camera is what you do for a living.
Mm-hmm.
Your needs from being bombarded with advertisements are very different to maybe my needs, because maybe this is my first camera and maybe I'm a hobbyist or maybe I'm taking it up for the first time. So you bombarding me with adverts is scaring the life out of me. Whereas maybe you, because it's your profession, this is what you want to see. You want to be chased because you want to be excited to buy the new camera. So somewhere along the line, we need to figure out how we differentiate from the needs that the customer has when they're searching. So again, in store, I talk with a lot of retailers and I train their teams to, start asking the questions and then shut up and listen to the answers. And we need to do that online as well. So yeah, you might be searching for a camera, but why do you need the camera? What is this camera serving a purpose for? If you can figure all that out online, as a business, if you can ask the right questions or you can get that feeling magically by someone tapping on the picture of a camera, then great, go for it, bombard them if they want to be bombarded. But as you said, most of us don't want to be. So I think there's still a massive gap in tech because, of course, you looking at a picture, your needs are so different from the next person that comes along. And until we sort that out and get it right, again, we're annoying our customer base. they're switching off, they're moving to a different platform, they're looking at the competition. Just because a marketer says that we need to bombard you with images doesn't make it right. And again, I fear that I'm annoying a lot of people by saying that, but that's certainly what I see as a consumer.
Mm-hmm. No one size fits all, right?
Absolutely. We are as individual, as customers, as we are as the businesses we represent. And I think sometimes big business forgets that customers need to be treated as individuals, not as a big collective or a persona, because that's not how we live and it's not what we're about.
That's the golden nugget. You just mentioned customers need to be treated as individuals and not as personas, or not collectively, just stereotyping a particular set of customers and then wanting to treat them that way. Very interesting. And yeah, please go on.
No, I was going to say, so I would work with not even larger organizations. I would work with a lot of smaller organizations as well. And that's where we start when I start working with them. Yes, have bigger personas, you know who your main customer is. But if you break it down, you can sell to them easier. You can imagine their customer journey and the customer experience they want. And then if you can maneuver your business to suit that, they keep coming back. And hey, presto, you have a profitable business, you have happy customers. And I fear sometimes this is where big business just gets it wrong, because they haven't individualized or personalized, as you spoke about earlier. Mm-hmm. They haven't personalized their service enough to their customer base.
And that's where I feel technology can really help, because companies have millions and zillions of customers, those big organizations. And that's where technology can really help to provide the personalized and the customized experience that the customers are really looking for. Otherwise, the issue is we have plenty of data. We are sitting on decks of data, heaps of data, but the companies, or we rather coming from those companies, we aren't using that data effectively to deliver the kind of experience that we really want our customers to have.
Absolutely. And I know I've probably knocked tech a lot in the last 20 minutes because it's not always been used well. It's not always serving the customer in the right way. But there are definitely companies out there that are getting it right. So there's an Irish brand, an Irish company called Orb Media. Ciara Sheehan helps run that business out of Dublin. And they kind of deliver this gorgeous retail experience online. You get an immersive 360 look at retail shops. That works beautifully. So that to me is somewhere where tech sits on top of your e-commerce platform or even in your social media, and it works really well. And then you have someone like Georgina Nelson, who runs True Ratings. There's a company that's really supporting retail in a phenomenal way with tech. Mm-hmm. This is where, to me, tech and the customer works together really well, but also tech and the business side, tech and the managers on the floor, tech and the C-suite, all comes together. They learn and they understand how True Ratings data really supports both the customer and the business. And for me, if more businesses out there could do that, then it would work really well. So yeah, I know I've knocked it a lot, but there are definitely really gorgeous companies out there right now that are getting it right on all sorts of levels within the customer journey and the customer experience kind of area when it comes to retail.
And we spoke about all of us being different as customers, different individuals, different personalities, different requirements. But then one last question that I would want to put across to you is, the next time you're visiting our grocery store or supermarket or Walmart, if you're used to going to Walmart, as a customer, what is that one thing that we should look out for so we know that we are being treated excellently and we're having an excellent customer experience with this particular supermarket chain? Is there one thing that we can look out for as customers, though we have different requirements?
No, absolutely. And I think it comes down to a real basic. And it's funny I say that. Adrian Swinso's book, Punk CX, I've been reading that a lot recently, and he talks about getting the basics right. So fundamentally, if you are walking through the doors of your local grocery store today, having listened to this, are you greeted? Are you made feel welcome? Because for me, that's the essence of customer experience. It's welcoming, it's the human connection. And it can be done online too. Like if you get a warm welcome, if you get a warm email when you've bought something from a company, I don't care how big or how small. You need to have that connection with the company to make you come back. And for me, that's the biggest thing about customer experience. It really should make you want to go back and buy again because you've loved it and you've told all your friends and your family, and then they start buying. If you get that welcome right, everything else should flow from there. You get that warm, fuzzy feeling at the beginning and at the end, and then you keep coming back. So that for me is the biggest thing. Doesn't matter how big or how small your grocery shop is at the end of the road, you need to be welcomed, whether you're visiting it physically or you're buying online.
Marvelous. I love the way you've summed up the experience that we should look out for as a customer, something that makes me want to come back. Wonderful. Thank you so much for being with us today, Melissa. It was a pleasure hosting you.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a great conversation.
Thanks for listening to CXO with your host, Supriya. I hope you enjoyed a dive into the nitty-gritty of customer experience. If you are committed to applying these ideas in the real world, stay tuned with me. Don't forget to check out all the links and resources in the show notes. That's all for this episode, folks. See you next time.